so much. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Sorry for creepy lady's voice. Thanks, Agatha. Now, take another 4 breaths like this. As you inhale, let the breath come to the chest, coming into your body. Let the breath go a little deeper into the lower abdomen. And then as you exhale, ground by softening the knees. In Qigong, there's just a very slight knee bend. Now remember, where your focus is a roadmap for energy. So if your mind is somewhere else and you're thinking about future or past, you're not going to be focusing on your body. You're not going to be doing your body justice. And you're not going to be able to achieve what we look to achieve in the practice, which is a mental, physical, and emotional grounding. So super important is to use your awareness to ground in the physical body. The physical body is your connection to right now. Feel your feet in the ground as you breathe out. Feel the lightness of the lungs. Fill the lower abdomen and relax your stomach on the inhales. And imagine just for a moment, for one more breath, that the feet literally root to the ground. There's a literal rooting. So you visualize little tree roots. And with that rooting, a lightness comes to the face. Smooth out any expression around the mouth, the eyebrows, the eyes themselves. Take a nice big breath into the heart and the belly and exhale through the mouth now. Let go of the day. So this first practice is for harnessing energy in Qigong. So if you're tired today, let's use this for that purpose. Rotate the palms out to the side. Inhale, bring the palms together above the head. And as you breathe out, center yourself with your hands, bringing your hands down in front of the forehead, allowing your awareness to come down to the chest. And as your hands come past your chest, your hands open, so the palms are facing down. Keep exhaling to the lower abdomen. On an inhale, you pulse the hands back to the heart, and then you squeeze the shoulder blades together, elbows back, open the heart. Exhale, the hands come back towards the center, and then you let the arms melt down. That's the full form, super simple. Breathing in. So we're going to try imagining harnessing energy from around us. Bring it into the palms, let the hands bring the energy down to the chest, elbows wide, and then we open the hands. And imagine we're settling our attention, relaxing the belly, lower dantian. Inhale, draw the energy from the lower dantian into the heart. Create space, open the chest, open the spirit center or the shen in your chest and your heart. And then exhale, settling, grounding through the feet. Let's do 2 more. Inhaling. Now change the quality of your movement by slowing down. This part of your yin practice is to help you settle mentally and to help you connect to your body. So follow me as best you can. Find an attention to detail, so relaxing and opening up the joints of the arms, the hands. Soft, pillowy movement. As we come back down and we relax into the feet, really connect to bubbling spring, that acupressure point in the foot. Let's do 1 more. As you sweep the arms out, try to visualize taking energy in through the crown of the head, acupressure point that we're going to try to focus on later. Palms help you to center. As you open your hands, you let go of negativity from the day, any thoughts that you could do with letting go of. And then inhale, brighten, open the chest, open the lungs. And then exhale, settle, closing, relaxing, calming. So really soft, really relaxed with the arms. Let's keep this theme of nice, soft, slow movement. And then we're going to do this practice, which I think is a pretty firm favorite. We're going to work on some water forms, because this time of year is all about finding fluidity with the water element, adaptability. So imagine you're holding a wheel. So imagine you've got a really big wheel. I'll move back a bit so you can see me. Now, if you have a bad back or tension in the knees, just relax into this and think about grounding through the feet. You're going to spin your wheel over to the right and keep facing me until you start to go all the way down, stretching the left side body, and then start to rotate your chest towards your legs. Look to your right foot. Keep a hold softly of the wheel over to the left foot. Then you open your chest over to the left side, up to the sky, and then we'll do 4 more in this direction. Now, this is to create fluidity in your spine. to open up all the energy channels around the back, front body, and the hips. So this is a pretty good one for creating space for any blockages in the lower body meridian, like the kidney meridian line, which is associated with water element, winter, and the bear. So let's do one more in this direction and just start to notice. So remember, Yin Yoga and Qigong, it's all about the subtle. It's not Kung Fu, it's not incredibly masculine, it's a little bit more feminine and soft, and it's all about deep listening, stillness, which is really grounding. Next time the arms come above the head, change direction. Let's do 5 in the left direction now. And I just adore this movement. In fact, I used to do this movement before I knew it was Qigong, because it just loosens the back up, right? So you're getting this gorgeous stretch through the sides. And then as the arms come down, you feel that side stretch, and then you start to feel the back body stretching. Bladder meridian line gets a stretch here, which is associated or partnered, I should say, with the kidney. All about the element of water and energy, not wasting energy, preserving energy at this time of year. Nourishing the kidneys helps us to stay strong, resilient over the winter months when we're kind of in hibernation mode, you know. Just talking about this earlier with Demetra, how we're really struggling in the mornings at the moment, you know. Energy levels are a real thing in the winter. So just imagine this nourishes us. This practice helps us to bring energy in. Next time the arms come above the head, and whenever that happens, don't rush. Just let the hands settle down for this little cleansing breath. Palms down, just like the Kung Fu breath. Relaxing. So these little cleansing breaths help to just balance and ground. So inhale, sweep the arms up. Now the palms face down, a little bit simpler than the Kung Fu breath. Just let the arms relax down. Now close your eyes, 2 more breaths like this. Circle the arms out to the side. Visualize the feet rooting. As the arms rise, imagine lifting the butterflies. Imagine you have little butterflies on your arms. And so if you move too quickly or rigidly or harshly, the butterflies will leave. Let's do one more. Now, I was kind of torn which forms to do today because there are some really good ones for the winter. But I wanted to maybe just do a cloud form, which is associated with the water element, and it's a little bit more fluid and relaxed. And then we'll do the bear form, which helps us to feel a little more settled, steady, and strong. So we'll take the feet just a little touch wider, and you can bend your knees as much as you like in this. If you want to get a bit of heat and warmth, you can bend them more. Settle into the legs, feel grounded. This time of year, we want to feel really settled. We're not wasting energy. Right arm is going to come up on top, and the left hand is going to come up on the bottom. So imagine the right hand wants to be about chest height. Left hand wants to be about lower abdomen height. And then we're going to manipulate this little cloud from side to side. Go over to the right, and then just roll the hands in this little ball of cloud, and then we'll go to the left. And you can move your legs as much as you like. So if you're feeling really tired and you don't want to work the leg muscles, or you've already had a bit of a workout, then don't worry about it. Just take it a little knee bend, but do allow some movement in the legs. The whole body pulses. Try to remember that Qigong is meditation, and it's about harnessing energy, letting go of negative energy. It's connecting to the body, which ultimately is connecting to nature. So take another couple, but slow down. I can always tell who's had a busy day. Again, like this. Slow down. It's all about coming into yin space. What is yin? Yin is stillness. It means feminine, calm energy. It means to be grounded, relaxed, peaceful, dark. It's about bringing new energy in. It's all about replenishing energy, not wasting it. So try 2 more, and I just want you to move as smoothly as you can and just pay attention to the body. Ground your mind. Imagine you have this little pillowy, poofy cloud that you're trying not to lose. Adaptability of water as it turns to steam or ice. Start to take on those qualities. Now, again, as wide as you want, bring your arms to center, palms out to the side. Now, this is a bear form. Bear is associated with winter. It's all about being strong, powerful, but also resourceful. So we're holding 2 trays of drinks here. Drinks of choice, of course. Any beverage, depends on what time of day. Bend the knees a little bit here, just to ground. And you don't have to bend them deeply, but just feel strong in your legs. Focus on the feet. Think about bubbling spring, drawing energy from the ground into the foot and into your body. And as you inhale, the spine is beautifully long. As you exhale, twist the whole upper body to the right. So that means the arms stay in line with the side ribs. Twisting to the right, inhale to center. You can straighten your legs a little bit. Exhale, twist to the left. Relax the shoulders. Inhale, straighten the legs. So embrace strength, but don't force it. Don't think about being too yang, because obviously, the point of this is really to come into a yin state, just to feel settled. So just go to the point that feels good for your legs. And if you're starting to feel it in your knees, just stop twisting so much. Focus on relaxing a little bit into the feet and let your legs move. If you feel pain in your knees at any point in any of these practices, just don't twist so far. Adjust the technique, maybe even lift the heels. And just feel how this massages the spine. It massages the bladder meridian line, which runs up the back of the spine, but also the kidney meridian lines around the stomach area into the groin. One more over to the right now, twisting as far as you can. Feel the warmth in your middle back and your torso. And then coming to center slowly, whenever you're ready, straighten the legs, release the arms down, take an exhale and then inhale, cleansing, 3 cleansing breaths. Imagine bright golden white light coming into the crown of the head. It's GV20, a little acupressure point there. We can stimulate energy. 2 more inhaling. So if you're tired, well, Qigong can help with that. The practice of Qigong, the intention, is health, is well-being, is looking after ourselves. Ancient, thousands of year old practice. If you breathe in, imagine you take that energy from around the body, you bring it into your body. And below the hands, just allow this pressing out of negativity, tension, stagnant energy, tiredness, sluggishness. Just for a moment, see how you feel. Close your eyes, straighten the legs, just see how you're doing. As we move into our yin practice, try not to lose this lovely calm feeling. Stay as present as you can. It's all about grounding today, so please stay as grounded as you can. Bring the feet just a little closer together and we'll come to hanging. So grab your blocks, bolsters, whatever equipment you've got, and sort of stack it in front of you for hanging, because I really want you to feel like you've got some support. And in fact, if you can get the block high enough, you could maybe even rest the head on the block. So when we're doing yin yoga, we're kind of doing acupuncture on ourselves anyway, right? So we're looking to open up energy channels around the body, just like we would do an acupuncture or shiatsu massage. And so what I wanted to just highlight is a couple of acupressure points. So the first one we've just gone through is kidney 1. And kidneys are a good one to work at this time of year anyway, because it stimulates the kidney organs, but it also helps us with various things associated with this time of year, like fear, balancing the emotion of fear. And the element of water, so it gets things moving in our body. We start to feel that we channel a little bit more our own body's water content. 70 to 80% of our body is made up of water. It's quite a lot. So if you can get the crown of your head on the block, then you might be able to stimulate GV20, which is governing vessel 20, a point on the top of the head, right on the crown of your head. And this one is great for stimulating energy, so it boosts energy levels, but then also helps us to get rid of headaches, and it also helps us to relieve brain fog. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been seeing some extreme brain fog this week. So let's just remind ourselves of how we do yin yoga. What are the principles of yin yoga? Well, the first thing to think about, of course, always is, what are we feeling? What sensations? And this is such a grounding practice. Already, we're coming into a deep sense of grounding by deep listening. When our water element is balanced, when our kidney meridian line is balanced, we're able to listen, we're able to turn up, we're able to meet our appointment with life. We are here in our bodies, we are with our bodies, and we are starting to show up for our bodies. And this brings us to a place of relaxation, deep listening, stillness, which is what I want to talk to you about today. There's a verse in the Tao Te Ching, which is a really famous Taoist text, philosophical text, thousands of years old, but it's so relevant today. And it's wonderful to ponder over the meaning of this. You might have read it already. So I've already been in hanging for 1 minute and 20 seconds now. And don't forget, once we get the sensations and we find stillness, that's when we check in with the time. So the time is the third principle. That's the magic ingredient that helps the body. The time gives us room to be still, to rebuild energy using yin, to bring the yin to our yang lives. But then at the same time, we can also develop the benefits physically, physiologically. The time we spend in a yin posture starts to affect the bones, strengthen the bone cells in the body, the connective tissues, and there's a deep release. One more breath. See if you can, if your head's not already on a block, and it doesn't matter if it isn't, just imagine you're trying to allow it to sink and soften down. Try and feel how this pose is a deep release, not only for the muscles and tissues, but it also reverses the flow of all those fluids. So it's good for your heart, good for your cardiovascular system and your immune system. And then let's come down to squat. So squat pose for me is a really grounding posture, and you can use your bolster or block to sit on. So this is quite a nice variation. Now, I find this pose grounding. We're doing this pose today because it helps me to feel settled with gravity. So I let my hips, as soon as my ankles are happy, and that's the first thing to think about, actually, make sure your ankles are happy. If that means sitting on a block or even sitting on the floor, you can do that. Try and shuffle your feet a little wider too. You can also put a rolled up blanket underneath your heels. That's a good option as well. So get comfortable with your ankles, but once you've gotten that, just allow this sinking of the hips. And then use the hands, either fists or a palm and a fist, or a fist and a fist, or a palm and a fist and a fist and a palm. Getting confusing myself now, sorry. Whatever feels good, just go for that. And then just allow your hips to settle. Allow gravity to do the work. So you've got your kidney 1 to the ground there. There's another acupressure point. We're going to work a little bit in the center of the collarbone area. We're working all right, Sherry. Can you hear me okay? Oh, great. Let me know if you need anything, guys. Now, I've started the timer. We're going to try 2 minutes here, and I'm going to give you a couple of little variations. The more we practice this pose, the more deep release we get around the hips. So as you engage with your hands, maybe you can feel something going on through the inner thigh area, maybe where the kidney meridian lines are in the groin, maybe the lower back and the glute area, bladder meridian lines along there. Now, as you breathe in, what's distracting you today, and what kind of mindset are you in today? What narratives are pulling you from pillar to post? What kind of spring cleaning have you been doing in your internal universe at the moment? How's it going in there? And can you just, if it's confusing and you start to think, oh my God, there's a lot happening at the moment in my life, just take away some of that clutter by just being right now. We can simplify everything by just immersing ourselves in this wonderful home we call our body. And when we're in our body, we can connect to this wonderful home we call the earth below the feet. Sorry if you can hear my cat having a cough there. Sorry about that. Bless it. All right, option. So we've been here a little bit of time now, and your option is to let your head hang forward, and you can interlace your fingers just where the head meets the neck at the back there. Give it a shot. that feels too much, you could just let your head hang forward and then have your hands on the floor. So that's another option as well. So just have a little play with it, see what it feels like. Which one's the nicer option? You got to ask your neck. So remember last week we practiced loving kindness, and I really want you to keep practicing loving kindness with your body. If you can find a space to listen deeply to your body. And if you start to feel something is too much, I want you to back away. And I want you to try 70%, if you can, of sensation intensity. Try 2 more breaths and assess whether the sensations are maxed out. Does it feel like, oh, this is so intense? Or can you back off just a little bit? Just give yourself a little bit of space from intensity. There's a saying in China where they only fill their teacups to 70%, leaving 30% of room for a little bit of emotional arising. So just seeing as if like you're letting the steam lift, so the smell, the aroma. Let's come down. Let's come off the block now when you're ready. Take your time to come down into kneeling. We're going to do a little child's pose variation where we're going to see if we can use the bolster or a couple of blocks here to stretch out the chest area. So we're going to do some shoulder heart opening. If you have hypermobile shoulders, just be really gentle with this and I'll give you some options. So you've got the bolster in front of you. You can take your elbows forward. So child's pose, the tailbone. So it's different from puppy pose, which we'll be doing later. Tailbone's towards the heels. And then your elbows are coming up onto your bolster or your blocks. And then you can take the hands and place them just to the back of the shoulders or the base of the neck there. And this is just a gentle way to de-stress, decompress a little bit through the side of the shoulder. The cat's come over to eat my hair, which is nice. Your breath smells, by the way. Can you go away? Sorry about that. So can you, adjust it as you need to. If you need to, you can put something under the knees. You can even put something underneath the ankles, actually. So if you feel like there's a lot of pain in your ankles stretching this way, put a little rolled up block. Another option is to curl the toes under. Anyone with their camera off, please feel free to drop me a little message. By the way, Mog, I keep meaning to say I'm so happy that you made it tonight and I've missed you terribly. I'm going to do Kung Fu Yoga Part 2 next week because you missed it this week, so I've got to do it again. Love you. Hi, Pearl. So glad you made it. So we're in child's pose. So just to update you, Pearl, we're in child's pose. Rollo's eating my hair. And apart from that, he's got a bad breath as well. So just take a couple of breaths here, letting the head relax. If you want to ease up on this, just straighten the elbows. It makes it less intense. So we've only done this, we've been about 40 seconds in this pose now. Check in with the sensations, ground your mind into your body so that you can be aware of what's happening. And the first step really towards a little bit of mental spring cleaning is just awareness. I don't know what I thought. Stupid putting this plant name, he's eating my plants. So maybe you could go deeper as you spend a little bit of time in the poses. Maybe you can go a little deeper into the pose. Maybe your body starts to change the sensations. And so you can either go a little deeper, or sometimes it's good to back off a little bit. It's quite important to give yourself a bit of space if it gets too intense. So remember, 70%. Then we listen, we try to pay a little bit of attention to the kind of sensations that we're feeling for another 20 seconds. How does child's pose feel? I really wanted to do child's pose because I feel like child's pose grounds me. Whenever something gets too intense, or I just feel like I kind of need to give myself a little bit of love and a little bit of assurance and a little bit of reassurance, I should say, then I come to child's pose, and the yin version is always my go-to. And as we open up the heart area, we allow this softening of anxiety, this release of tensions. We ground ourselves, feeling steady, rooted, relaxed. Take one more breath in child's pose, observing and listening, showing up for your body today, giving it some attention. And then let's come up for marauding bear. So I want you to come out slowly, straightening the elbows if you've got them bent. And then just come up onto your hands and just roll the bolster or pillows, whatever you've got handy, out the way. Keep everything close. And then let's stack the shoulders over the wrists in a little quadruped position. I want you to do marauding bear. Let's go through the different movements in marauding bear first. Lift your tail and your chest and let your belly really hang low. And then, or as low as it wants to, really let your abdomen relax. And then lift your chin. One of the great benefits of Zoom classes, I think, is just letting it all hang out. No one can see. And then try a cat stretch now. Suck in the belly, look up to your stomach, curl your tailbone under, press gently into the hands, observe. Now come to somewhere in between, neutral spine. Wiggle your hips to the left and look over the left shoulder so you feel the stretch in the right side body, and just pause, listening. Deep listening to the body, and then come to center, look over to the right side. A little bit of a side stretch through the left rib cage, the waist. Works the gallbladder meridian line, which I love, bit of side bending. And then come back to center. Now, this is just a little gentle wrist stretch. Keep the elbows straight. Roll the inner elbows forward and then shift the shoulders over the wrists. Feel a little stretch in the wrist joint. And then just lift the tailbone as if you're doing child's pose, but with the tail lifted gently, almost to the heels, but not. And now I want you to freestyle this. I want you to move with complete freedom. I like this name. One of my favorite yoga teachers would always call this marauding bear. And I felt like, because bear as an animal is associated with winter, you just move with this freedom and you involve yourself with what your body needs. You inquire with your body and you get this free movement. Now think about a bear as you move around. Bears, I love bears. They kind of lollop, which is good. I always think of the word lollop when I think of bears. They move in this sort of chilled out way, right? They're just kind of flopping around and they're really big and strong. But you never see a bear wasting its energy, right? You never see a bear get stressed out. They're always like super chill. And then, of course, when they need to be, they're fierce, they're strong, they're powerful. But they also know that it's important to conserve energy. So as you take a couple of breaths here, just imagine this grounding, this settling, this hibernation mode that we're in at this time of year, just honoring that, honoring your body, listening to your body, relaxing your body. Close your eyes and just be with sensation. Let all sense of self dissolve away. In an ego sense, anyway, just being, just feeling, experiencing, settled and grounded in the bones and the muscles and the tissues. 2 more breaths. Find the spot with your eyes closed that feels really good, and then just breathe into those areas. Just get the space, unblock those little pockets of tension that you can feel, stopping the immune system, the blood flow, the endocrine system. And then let's come to puppy pose. So I want you to come back to a neutral tabletop position. Curl the toes under just a little bit. And then come down. So puppy pose is almost like a slightly more intense heart and upper back opener. Options are putting you can do the bolster again if you like. This time the hips are stacked quite high over the knees. So you get this cascading of the spine, and then the chest melts down. My cat appears to have decided to be under my chest there, which is good. A little bit of a cushioning there. Feel free to use pets as cushions if you need to. But puppy pose, you can just adjust this. Now, I wanted to do a half puppy pose. So basically, your arms are stretched out like this, and then you bend the left elbow and hold your right arm with your left hand. That doesn't feel good, then you can just keep both elbows straight if you want, or you can even bend both elbows if it's starting to feel a bit too much. My top tip here is to move the hips so that they're directly over the knees. But if it starts to feel too much, push them back a little bit as if you're going towards child's pose. What I don't think is a good idea normally is to have the hips too far forward of the knees, because then there's loads of pressure on the shoulder joint. And I want you to be gentle with your shoulder joint, because it is a mobility joint, and it can get a little too weakened if we stretch too far into it. Then you want to check in on the neck. So if you're doing the half one, the left arm shouldn't feel quite so much stretch, but the right arm should be feeling around the armpit area. And you might even be able to sort of turn away from the left arm so the neck's comfortable, but just make sure your neck is comfy. Really important. And then start to melt and ground your heart. So what feels like it's bringing you away from a grounded space at the moment? Maybe you've got something happening at work at the moment, or maybe you're just having health problems at the moment, and the mind is jumbled and cluttered with worries and what's going to happen and what happened yesterday, and we get pulled from pillar to post continuously. But then when we come to Yin and we try to practice grounding and meditation, we have to be in that deeply present space where it's quiet, where there's stillness, where we can listen to the body and properly listen to the body. We're not telling the body what it's going to feel like. We have no expectations. Expectations tend to breed our realities. They tend to shape our realities, especially with the body. So we have to rein in our expectations a little bit. And attachments, we have to let go of the stories that we tell ourselves are who we are. So we try to let go of all the heavy baggage from the past. Change arms now. So if you've got left hand on right, straighten the left elbow and take a hold of the left elbow with the right hand now. And again, make sure your forehead is connected to something and your neck is chilling out. So while we're in this other side, I'll read you, and don't forget you can come out when you need to, right? If you need to get out of a yin pose before I tell you, I am timing them. I've got my little timer here, but if you need to get out and your body's telling you to get out, then definitely do. It's about your using your body as your teacher. So the verse 20, this is verse 26 from the Tao Te Ching, an ancient philosophical text from Taoism. The heavy is the root of the light. The still is the master of unrest. Therefore we rise, traveling all day. Do not lose sight of their baggage. Though there are beautiful things to be seen, they remain unattached and calm. Why should the Lord of 10,000 chariots act lightly in public? To be light is to lose our root. To be restless is to lose control. This is about self-centering and grounding, and it kind of guides us on how we can do that. And I'll go over some of these sentences in a minute. One more breath to soften the armpit space, to ground the heart, to let go. When you're ready, straighten the right arm out. If you've got anything underneath your arms, like a bolster, take your time to press into the bolster and come off the bolster. And then we're going to lower down onto the belly for Sphinx and possibly Seal. So a little option here, if you want to try. I love these back bends in Yin. They're so good for your back, but they also create loads of grounding space in your abdomen and your belly. So we're not doing the abdomen version that we've been doing where we've been lying on the bolster. You maybe use the bolster to lift the elbows a little bit higher if you like. So if you stack your elbows on the mat under your shoulders and you're not really feeling anything in your lower back, bring the elbows higher by putting something underneath them like a block or a bolster. And then don't forget, another option is to bend the knees. So if you've got tight quadriceps or knee joints, this is a nice gentle stretch. But listen to your back. Compression on its own is a really good thing. So I love the feeling of squeezing my back because I know it's strengthening the lower back curve, which is so important to your spine. But if there's pain attached to that, that's when you back off. Now, Yin Tang is one of my favorite acupressure points. I like to interlace my fingers once I'm in the right position for my lower back And then I rest. So it's the spot where your third eye is, between your eyebrows. You rest that spot on your thumb. And you can obviously go down a little bit towards the bridge of your nose or up a little bit towards the forehead. And then you just allow the weight of the head to rest on yin tang. Yin tang is another energy booster, and it clears the head, the sinuses, clears the eyes. So again, if you were going to get acupuncture, and you were struggling a little bit with being grounded, calm, these may be some of the acupuncture spots that they would work on. I've had this one worked on myself when I've been in a particularly stressful situation and lots of worrying and getting carried away a little bit with my mind and my thoughts. This helps to clear the front of the brain. So imagine that little bit of pressure. And these acupressure points are always just offerings as well. You don't have to do them. We'll try another 30 seconds or so. You can release the acupressure point whenever you want. And when your head's not resting on your thumb, you can let your head dangle down, or you can have the chin lifted and the head dropped back. And then just starting to let the belly relax. Gorgeous stretch for your stomach. Really good for helping you get a calm nervous system and the digestive system. So I really wanted to go through a little bit of this Tao Te Ching verse with you. The first is, I think, probably the simplest one. The first line of this verse is the heavy is the root of the light. What does this mean? Well, it's kind of like you can compare to a tree. Rooted, the more rooting the tree has, the more it flows with the wind and the weather without being uprooted. We stay grounded by growing these roots, and we can get this mental stability through using practices like yin meditation, through understanding how to ground, how to root ourselves. And it doesn't matter what sort of turbulence there is going on at the top of the tree there. It like water, like the element of water, it can bend and flex and adapt with the terrain without being uprooted. So we stay in that centered, steady space. So we'll come out and have a little break in tree frog. So we're coming off the bolster. Take the hands under the head, elbows wide, right knee slides up to the right elbow, and then just look over to the right elbow and give yourself a little bit of a side stretch. You can slide the knee away and take the left elbow a little closer to the center of the mat. So feel that the chest and the heart softening. Feel a little bit more rooted through the heart, a little bit more relaxed through the heart. There's calmness. Let your lower back soften in this pose and feel connected to the ground. Let's change sides. Actually, let's do seal first. Right leg straightens out. Option to come back into Sphinx or any variation thereof, something underneath the elbows. Or you can rotate the fingertips out to the side. Walk your hands a little wider and then push up into Sphinx. Sphinx pose is much different to upward dog. There's no effort, so you're not pushing. Kind of want to lock out the elbows so you're just hanging out on the arm bones. And then I love hanging my head back to get a stretch for the front of my throat. And there's a little acupressure point in that little groove where your collarbone meets that we're working on in a moment. CV21. And that acupressure point is used for breath, increasing the breath, and filling the bottom chambers of the lungs. So feel how this stretches the diaphragm, the breathing muscles, stomach. Gorgeous stretch. But if it's too much, just come down into Sphinx anytime. And we're going to spend less time in this pose. So just a couple of breaths. let the torso let the torso ground. Allow your abdomen to completely let go of all its tension and rigidity. Second sentence in this verse, the still is the master of the unrest. Well, when we do Yin Yoga and we practice being still, this is what masters our feelings of being unrest. It always amuses me when people tell me that they're too fidgety minded to do Yin. But it's actually the people that are hyper flexible and have very, very calm and an intense meditation practice that are probably the least in need of Yin. If you're really stiff in your body, tight in your body, and your mind is not very settled or rested, then yeah, you need this is the place to be. Stillness is going to be the master of your unrest. And so we have to practice being still. Let's come out of this. Slowly bend your elbows, lower down nice and softly. And then look over to the left elbow, slide the left knee to the left elbow, coming into tree frog, softening through the lower back. This is a lovely counter stretch for back bends. Before we come into some hip openers, let's enjoy a complete softening of the lower back and just see how you're doing. Keep checking in with your body today. Exhaling to release tension, to allow the abdomen to relax. We often hold our bellies in, right? A lot of us sort of struggle with negative feelings about our body as well. We did this a little bit last week and I found it quite interesting to explore when we are negative towards our body. I don't want you to do that in any of the practice. I want you to always be aware of what thoughts float in, negative thoughts about yourself. In the words of Thich Nhat Hanh, we have to show our body gratitude and kindness. It's our home. We have to look after our home. So we'll come to broken wing briefly. So open wing. Sorry, don't break your wing. We're just going to open it up, not break it. Right arm, straighten the left leg out, and then look to the right arm. Straighten out on the ground with the palm flat to the floor, and have your hand in line with your shoulder, and then look to the left. And then you can put something under your head here. So if you need to put a little block or a cushion under your head, you can. And then press the ground away from you and roll over onto your right shoulder. I like to bend my knees and take my feet to touch. And then my left knee points up, my right knee points out. But if that feels too much, you can just come back and have the knees bent and together. As long as you're feeling the right shoulder opening, it really, really, really doesn't matter what the variation is. But also relax your head. Relax the neck. Very important to relax the neck. So if you need me to repeat any of the demonstrations, please tell me. As you know, I like to blather on and read little stories to you and stuff about philosophy. But if there's anything you're confused about, please tell me. So the right shoulder, release tension, open up the lung meridian lines. This is brilliant for your immune system. Lung 1 and 2, get a gorgeous stretch in this posture. And also that space around the collarbone, which is full of lymphatic glands, lymphatic nodes. So though the first two lines, I think, of that verse, kind of easy to figure out, but I think the next bit I found a bit challenging, really. The next bit, therefore we rise, traveling all day. Do not lose sight of their baggage. And I think by baggage, he kind of means day-to-day responsibilities and duties. So we don't want to lose sight of those things. And so sometimes we think that, that in meditation practices and these philosophies are telling us that we should just kind of let go of all these day-to-day things. But that isn't the case. We just don't want to be worrying about them. Let's come into the other side. So release down onto your chest and then take the left arm out, a little open wing. Look to the right side now and then use your right fingertips to press over and then let the head hang on the floor. When I bend my knees and I open up my hips towards the sky. I get quite a nice release in my lower back. That could be something nice to explore if your shoulders are fairly open. If you have compromised shoulder flexibility, as in hypermobility in your shoulders, never exasperate that, okay? Be gentle. Part of our loving kindness practice is to understand when we are really overly flexible in certain areas and super tight and unflexible in other areas, to try and bring that balance. Part of balancing your body is being just the right amount of strong and stable and just the right amount of open and mobile. Super important. So sometimes focusing on our duties and responsibilities can help us keep going, to help us keep a feeling of resilience, to be steadfast, especially in the winter months. And then the next two lines, though there are beautiful things to be seen, they remain unattached and calm. And so I'm really guilty of this, that we get distracted, right? Dimitri will tell you, I'm always getting overexcited about things. I get distracted about things. I want to do this, and oh, what about this? And oh God, this is really cool. And so we get into this kind of cluttered space where we're chasing things and we get confused and we're not sure what path to follow. So we stop pursuing things, and it's about this remaining unattached and calm. So we don't attach ourselves to these things that are shiny and attractive and distracting, and we stay in this grounded, centered space. Roll to your belly, and we'll finish this little back bend sequence with a prostration. So prostration is a surrender. So stretch your arms forward, palms together, forehead on the floor, like a full body stretch, and then rest the forehead down, and then let the toes reach the back of the mat, and then really open stomach, the waist muscles, the rib cage area. Let it all melt. Surrender to the ground just for a couple of moments. As we connect to our home in the body, we connect to our home in the ground, in the earth. Let go of future and past. As much as the future past thing and our perception of ourselves, our awareness of ourselves as human beings is a great thing, and it's what differentiates us from other animals, it can also be a bit of a curse, right? Because we get into these tangled messes of always future, past, future, past, future, past. Grounding is being now, unattaching ourselves from that, from our stories and our imagined futures and our imagination of the past. Just to detach all of that, cut it all away, and just even if it's just for a short while, just centering, coming back to that center. Slide the hands under the shoulders, curl the toes under, and push back to child's pose with your toes curled under. And let's just for a moment, we're going to do a tiny weeny bit of acupressure point work if it feels good. So child's pose with the toes curled under. How does that feel in your tootsies? And then when you're ready, we'll walk our fingertips in, so you're softening the lower back. Come to seated on your heels for nobody's favorite pose, broken toe pose. How's it going? How's it going, Jasmine? How you feeling? Is your back doing all right? Oh, it's all about the yin, isn't it? It's so good for your back. So I like this pose, but if you find it too much, you just grab your bolster and put it on top of your heels and sit on your bolster or pillow, whatever you've got as a substitute there. Soraya, I'm interested to see whether you like this, because nobody else likes this. I don't like it, but I know it's good for me. How you doing, Miranda? God, your hair's gorgeous. Now, let's do a quick acupressure point work. So you know that one I was talking about, the governing vessel 20, right at the top of your head. So if you find the top of your ears, and then draw a little line with your index fingers to the crown of your head from the top of your ears. And then if you were to draw a line down into your forehead, it would go to yin tang, which is in between your eyebrows. So around the very top of your head, basically. But don't worry, don't stress out about getting exactly that spot. So you can just take a couple of moments to find just where you think is the crown of your head, and then use the index fingers or the index and middle fingers just to sort of massage that bit. Or tap You may have done tapping before. Tapping similar to massaging, right? And it still does the same thing. It gets the energy going into that space. It opens up that space of connective tissue in the top of your head. So I was talking a little bit, I think, about this earlier, but this is a brain point, and this releases brain fog, headaches. So you can give it a little tap. I've actually got quite a sore GV20 today. And the other thing I quite like to do, especially if you've been having headaches or anything recently, is little claw hands. This is a Qigong massage technique. We did this on the retreat, the first retreat actually, Shiv. I don't know if you remember this, but basically this is great for zhuzhing your hair as well. So my hair is a bit thin and fine, right? So I quite like to give it a zhuzh. If your hair is not in need of a zhuzh, and actually it might ruin your hair and you're going out dancing after yin tonight, then you might want to not do this one. Right, he's going out clubbing. Sorry, just ignore me. Please feel free to tell me to shut up or anything in the chat there. So giving your yin tang a little massage, and I bet you've forgotten a little bit, haven't you, about the feet? Have you forgotten about the feet, Mog? No. I actually love this now. Let's release. Oh, so good. And then when you come to the top of your toes now and kneeling, that should feel really good. So we're going to spend just a couple of breaths, I should say, in kneeling. And now we're going to work that CV21. And C is conception vessels. But there are these meridian lines that are not necessarily connected to organs, but they're incredibly important sort of main meridian lines. And that is where your collarbone meets in the center and just down a bit. So it's kind of a little bit on the bone, actually, this one, which normally they're not. But so you just give that a little rub in the circular way with your thumb. I like to use my thumb for this one, or you can just tap it. So you just use your fingers to tap. If the kneeling is quite hard on the knees, you can pop a block in between your feet, or if you want more stretch for the ankles, lift the knees. And then just not going to be here for very long. Just maybe 20, 30 seconds more. Close your eyes once you find the spot. One of the things to remember with acupressure work actually is just that it's quite nice to just explore the area and see where you're holding tension or soreness or stiffness. And let's release the knees back down. So this is great for breathing, CV21, and also tension in the chest and digestion. So let's bring the hands forward and we'll just give the ankles a little circle after that in tabletop. And then let's go back into dog. So I wanted to do a little bit of hip opening to ground us even more deeply, because I find the hips can be sometimes the source of a little bit of stress and stopping us from feeling settled. So as you come to downward dog, just shake your head a little bit, relax your neck. Imagine those pressure points have really helped us to open up the brain and the breath, so we feel a bit more refreshed and energized and lighter. And bring the right foot to the inside of the right hand in a long step lunge. And then grab your blocks, cushions, pillows, whatever you got hanging about. And then take a moment in baby dragon. So we're going to do a little dragon sequence. So this posture, I find this posture really challenging. And I think most of us do. There can be various reasons for that. The first one is to have pain in that back knee. So you don't want pain in that back knee. So maybe add a little bit of blanket to it. This is the beauty of doing yin at home. You've got loads of squishy things, hopefully hanging about. And then we can put blocks either side of the foot. So if you've got two blocks either side of the foot, or you could put a block to one side of the foot and the other arm can be on the thigh, or you could have both arms on the thigh. And this is called baby dragon. To be honest, I find this really intense because one of my problem areas is this left hip at the front, the back hip. So you can feel how this is deeply stretching your hip flexors, which is incredible for many, many reasons. For the immune system, you've got loads of lymph nodes in that space. It's brilliant for opening up your back. So if you get soreness in your spine from sitting at a desk all day, this is going to help with that. Then you might be feeling it in your front hip as well. So just a couple of breaths in baby dragon. Make sure the weight is in the hips and the right foot, not the back knee. Try and, if you can, ground through the right foot, ground mentally. This pose tests my ability to relax in the hip stretch, I'm not going to lie. Nice technique, Jade, looking good. Is it feeling good or no? It makes me want to cry sometimes, this, actually. In fact, this tests my ability to stay calm. I get a bit angry sometimes in this pose. Now let's try low flying dragon, winged dragon. You grab your block and put it to the inside, or your bolster, put it to the inside of the right foot now. And then you can either stay on the hands and wing the knee out to the side, or you can come down to your elbows and wing the knee out to the side, or you can even come all the way to the floor with your elbows. So depends on your flexibility. This pose is getting stuck into the hips, isn't it? Basically, it really is. It's opening up the hips quite intensely. So remember the 70%. Don't fill your teacup right up to the brim. Come up a little higher if you need to. I'm going to try another 30 seconds in this posture. Now, just connecting with sensation, take a moment, closing your eyes. Just how is this posture affecting your body and affecting how you feel as well? So noticing emotions. It's that teacup thing, right? You've got 70% full of that sensation intensity. But then with that 30%, you're just going to see what's arising. And then you're settling. You're trying to allow your hips to be grounded as well. We've done a little bit of work on grounding the heart. Now see if you can ground your hips. 10 more seconds in this posture. Take one more breath to try to let go, to give the weight to the bones and the ground. And then let's come up back onto the hands. If you're on your elbows, come back to your hands. Move the block out the way. And then just slowly shift the hips back. So like a little half splits, basically. See how that's feeling? And then let's go back into downward dog. So bring the weight forward, curl the left toes under. Oh, down dog is a great little yang cleanser. So imagine it's cleansing your palate in between yins. You want to find a little bit of space to wiggle it out. So don't give me a really fierce yang downward dog. Give me a nice gentle downward dog where you're just allowing a little bit of a bum wiggle, a little bit of a tushy wiggle. And then when you're feeling ready and the blood flows back into your legs, take the left foot to the inside of the left hand. Just take your time to get that lunge step forward. And then the right knee down. Oh dear, I tell you what, this never gets any easier, this pose for me. I don't know about you, but God. For me, I think this is probably, I've chosen my most challenging hip openers, but don't forget, everybody's different with their hips. So as you come to baby dragon, also be aware that rights and lefts are completely different. So this side might be feeling so much different in the knee, the hip. How do you find this one, Pearl? Is this one all right? You find it okay? Oh, do you? Okay, interesting. Okay. It makes me angry. I feel like if Boris Johnson was over here right now and I was doing this pose, fist in face. So yeah, actually probably even without dragon pose at the moment. Anyway, softening everything down into baby dragon. You can grab your blocks, put the blocks either side of the left foot, or you can put your hands on the left thigh. It's totally up to you, really. Just have a little play around with it. See what you're feeling. See what's occurring. And then start to release and relax and let go. If you have any questions, please tell me. Is that Pete? Pete there as well. Oh, hey, that's so funny, isn't it? It's so dark in England. I can't see any. I mean, we could have more lights on, couldn't we? But we want to get cozy. Be gentle with this one, guys. Remember the 70%. Give yourself a little bit of room to just see if you can feel emotions arising, thoughts arising. While we're in this pose, I wanted to tell you a little story. And to be honest, you're probably going to know this story already. I think most people have heard it, but it really highlights that last little bit of the Tao Te Ching verse that we were talking about. Where we were talking about not being attached to things and not getting carried away with things. Before we do that, let's come down into low flying dragon. So this is your option here. Look, you can just come up onto the block inside of the left foot. You can then wing the knee out. That'll intensify the stretch in the front hip. And then you can come to your elbows. That'll give you a little bit of a grounding and more intensity in the right hip. So just play with it. And don't forget to relax the neck as well. You can support your head on a block even if you wanted to. You can use the bolster. Don't forget, actually, this is a nice thing to remember. You can put the bolster under this hip. Look, we should have told you that on the other side, shouldn't I, really? But if it's just getting a bit much and you just feel like punching Boris Johnson even more than usual, then feel free to just switch it up a little bit. So this little story, so there once was an old farmer, and he was very hardworking. He used to follow all his duties day and night, very, very loyally. He would never skip out on his duties and responsibilities. Worked really hard, maintaining his farm. One day, one of his horses, well, he only had one horse and it ran away. The villagers all came when they heard this and to say, I'm so sorry for your loss. You only had one horse and it's buggered off down the road. The farmer's response was just maybe. And then a few days later, the lost horse actually comes back and it brings with it some other feral or stray horses, so some untamed horses, 3 more. The villagers say, look how lucky you are. You've now got 4 horses and you only had 1 to start with. And the farmer's like, yeah, maybe, yeah. And then the son of the farmer decides he wants to tame one of these horses. So he tries to ride it, but then the horse bucks, throws him off, and he breaks his leg. And of course, all the villagers piping up, saying, wow, that's pretty unlucky there. Your son's now laid up, can't move, can't help on the farm. But again, his response is maybe. And yeah, maybe that's unlucky, yeah. But then finally, as a turn of events, the king comes around with all his horsemen to recruit people for battle. Of course, he goes up to the farmer's house. His son doesn't get recruited because he's got a broken leg. So it ends up being quite a good thing. Let's slowly come out of this. Oh, God. Shift your hips back. Take your time. Remember that even though this feels really painful, like the farmer story, it's going to get better as we go back to dog. So take your time. Don't forget to have a good old groan, guys. And I've got to trust that you're groaning here. Is everyone groaning? You've got to go back into down dog going, ugh. I just... My cat was having a sleep on the chair there, and when I made that noise, he looked at me with such confusion. I think he thought I turned into a gremlin then. Anyway, come to kneeling, child's pose, whenever you're feeling ready. Allow your forehead to relax. Feel grounded mentally, physically. I'm going to finish with another hip opener, a little bit deeper into an area that usually is quite intense. So we'll just take it easy with this. Roll up into kneeling. Take your time. Interlace the fingers and just take a minute to stretch the arms. See if you can press the middle fingers forward and straighten the elbows and just take a little sort of little stretch for your arms. See how you're feeling. Just check in with how you're feeling. And then let's release, come to seated, shifting the feet one way and the hips the other way. And then let's just have a little go here at box pose or square pose. So I'm aware box pose is pretty intense. So let me go through the techniques. Quite complicated, actually, the technique for this one. The first thing to do is flex the foot. So if you look at my right, so I'm going to mirror you for this one. My right foot, imagine the heel pushes away and the toes draw in. So that's pointing, that's flexing. Flex the foot. If the right foot on the left knee is too intense, which it quite possibly could be, bring the foot to the floor. And if you're doing square pose, you basically walk your feet away from your body and then you press your knees together and walk the feet towards the edges of the mat and then flex the feet. And then as you fold, If you're getting an intense stretch for your glutes and your lower back and your hips, then you're doing it right. However, if you fold forwards and square, not really feeling it, come to box. Box is the same thing. The feet walk forward. They're stacked with the knees. So right knee stacks over left foot, right foot on the left knee. And again, the feet walk away. So there's so many different ways to do this, but I often see people getting it wrong. Not wrong, but like just, just not getting the angles, basically. So the good thing about the foot flexing is that you can then get the knee to align itself. So hopefully you're not feeling it in your knee. Just before we fold, I want you to rub the arch of your right foot just for a couple of breaths. Hello, Agatha. Good to see you now. This is nice. This is mine and yours' favorite pose, isn't it? I know, I hate it. You actually like, I know, Miranda likes it. Weirdo. I'm kidding. I actually asked my live classes yesterday, and there were a few people that did like it. It just depends on your hips, right? Everyone's got hip bits, hip areas that are tighter than others. So once you've given the arch of your right foot a little bit of a rub down, come onto the bolster block. You can actually use both here, look. So you could put your block on your bolster and rest your forehead down here. And then just 2 minutes on each side. But for me, this pose is incredibly intense. You might find this one's all right. And actually, the inner thigh stretches like butterfly is more intense. It just is so dependent on the individual. We are all so different, which is why we have to be our own teachers. So that little story, I think, really highlights that whatever's going on around us, we don't need to get too sucked in. We can stay settled, grounded, and centered by just remaining unattached. And then the last couple of lines that we can have a little analyze of are the next two lines. Why should the Lord of 10,000 chariots act lightly in public? And this is kind of to do with the three things that make our day-to-day life change and fluctuate. The three things that play a big role in our day-to-day lives, basically. First thing is our ego. Second thing is attachments that we've already talked about. And the third thing is expectations, which we were just touched upon lightly earlier. So with regards to ego, another little story. So the story is that a king wants to act humble. He wants to learn from spiritual teachers. So he pretends not to be the king so he can go in and be a student and be a beginner. So he goes in to see his spiritual teacher. Doesn't say the king, kind of hides it. And he learns and he listens and he's patient and he acts humble. But then one day he asks the master, what is ego? And the master doesn't respond, doesn't tell him. So the next day he asks again, and then again, no response. And on the third day he asks again, and the master says, go away, you fool, leave me alone. So then the king replies, how very dare you, I am the king. How dare you speak to me like this? You can't talk to me like that. But then the master replies, well, there you go, there's your ego. Ego has emerged despite the humble behavior. And this little story just kind of highlights where our ego can get kind of caught up sometimes in our ability to be grounded. Let's come up slowly to change sides. Is anyone near me? I might need someone to call me an ambulance after this one. Is that right? I got... Can someone get a helicopter in for airlifting me out? I like to lean back, lift up my legs, and then take my right foot down, and then I like to windscreen wipe my legs like this. Look. Oh, the windscreen wiping is so good. How's that feeling, Neve? How are your pinnies? I always think about your hips there. Sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Anyway, let's do the other side. So remember, you've got the option of square. Left foot is a little bit forward of right. And then you can walk your feet out with square and walk them away. So get in the angles, or put the left foot a little bit higher up on the knee for box. Before we go into that, give your arch of your foot a little massage. I was going to rub kidney 1 actually, but I just think it's nicer to rub the arch of the foot, and it just releases the whole area. Everyone all right? You got any questions? Don't forget, give me a little message in the chat. Walk the right foot a little bit further forward if you're not feeling it that much. I know, it's impossibly difficult, this one. Agatha, I'm a yoga teacher and I struggle with this, right? Can you do this one though? Look, Agatha. You know the square one where you walk your feet in and, you see? Like that. And then fold. Give that a go. Flex the feet as well. And then the left foot. To be honest, I'm suffering here, believe me. But I'm staying grounded because I know it's going to feel good after. You see? There you go. See? So giving that a little rub down there. So once you've given that arch of that foot a little bit of love and attention, and it's always worth giving your tootsies a little bit of love and attention, let's come into the fold. Coming onto the bolster, inquiring. So even if you've got tension in the inner thigh, actually, in this one, it might feel quite nice to stretch this space out. If you're feeling it in your knee joint, don't forget to flex the foot. So important to flex the foot. And then let the head rest. 2 minutes in this posture. And again, if you need to change the position, you want to change the position of your head as well, don't forget. Remember, 70%. I know this pose for me feels like 280% actually, this pose for me. I haven't just got my face pressed up against the window, it's gone through the window. And then just starting to breathe and listen. So the last part of this verse, to be light is to lose our root. To be restless is to lose control. Now, if you're sad or you're happy or you're in a particular mood, I take these lines to kind of highlight to us that we need to be aware of our state, of our internal space, and take responsibility for it. I quite like the analogy that it's a bit like cleaning your house, right? So nobody's going to clean your house for you. You've kind of got to do it yourself. And you can get a cleaner in. You can get a therapist to come in and give you a hand with that, cleaning up what's going on inside. But ultimately, it's your dedication and your commitment to keeping that space grounded, rooted. It's easy to blame others and to blame situations for how we feel. But I think it's so important that we take responsibility for our feelings, and it's really hard to do sometimes. Let's come out, give our pinnies a little shake, come out nice and slowly. Oh my God. How's it going, guys? I don't know why I insist on doing this one with you and take the feet wide. I'm like, I don't need to do this. Give your knees a little roll and massage the glutes out. And if you really felt it in your buns, you can do a little reverse tabletop, which I think feels great. And then we'll come to lying down, and we are going to finish. Okay, let's finish with, I think a twist is probably the best thing to do. So let's come onto the back. So grab your bits and bobs to make you comfortable and warm. Hug your knees to your chest. Now, we're not using this as a yin pose. We're just going to we're just going to momentarily, briefly go through twisted root. So right leg squeezes around the left leg. And the reason I want you to do this one is because it's the opposite of what we just did with our hips there. And then you can put your bolster or your block over to the left side, or your cushion, and then drop the knees onto the bolster or block, and then look over to the right side. So this is just going to balance the hips out and the lower back as well. So we've done some back bends today, we've done some hip opening. So we've really created lots of space in the lower body, the lower back. But also feel that space in the heart. Maybe roll the chin closer to the right shoulder. Let the belly draw in just very slightly. Just explore a little bit what you're feeling in your hips now, and kind of balancing. Just feel this equilibrium and this centering and balancing coming into your body now, into your nervous system with the twist. Switch sides. Unwrap the legs, and then take the left leg, twine it around the right leg, and then drop the knees over to the right side. And you can put obviously something underneath the knees, because nobody's going to be able to twine the legs together and get the knees to the floor and get that left shoulder to the floor. So don't even bother trying. Support your body and just squeeze the inner thighs. It's pretty good for the kidney meridian lines, actually, because you can sort of work your meridian lines a bit like in both ways that you might sort of unblock a pipe or something, or like a hose pipe. So you can kind of stretch things out and open up the flow of energy in that way, or you can condense things, give things a bit of a squidge, and then when you open out, everything opens up a little more and there's more flow to the immunity, to the blood. And then let's enjoy a few minutes in Shavasana. So Shavasana might look completely different to what you might think of Shavasana, because I want you to just be comfortable. So come into a comfortable position. Traditional Shavasana in Yin can look really nice and comfortable with the bolster in a way that if you've got lower back pain, you can just rest your knees on the bolster. And this takes all the stress from your lower back, especially if you really felt those back bends. But then another thing you could do if you really enjoyed the back, my cat just sneezed. If you're really enjoying the hip opening, you could do reclining butterfly. I like this as a meditation position where you put the bolster lengthways under your spine, your head rests on it, knees wide. You can put blocks under your knees as well, or whatever you want. And just let go of all effort. So any effort that may remain, like your body's holding itself, I want you to breathe in and just notice. Maybe the neck's still a bit tight. Maybe your shoulders are still holding themselves a little bit too high around your ears. Maybe your chest still feels a bit sore or tight, or your breathing's not very relaxed. Scan the body. And then open your mouth on an exhalation. Let it go. Feel settled. Imagine within your home, your body, you've taken good care of it for the last hour. You've looked after it, you've nurtured it. Now your body is content. Stillness comes a little more easily. Allow your body to feel deeply connected to the ground. To this other home. just for these few minutes, be deeply present in your body. Really take on board the Tao Te Ching's teachings, its guidance. Be aware. Step back and observe. And the lesson from Kung Fu is that if this is challenging, if stillness is challenging and there continues to be unrest, practice, practice, practice. Just be with your body. Just be with your body. Take a deep, refreshing breath. Imagine that CV21 acupressure point at the bottom of your throat allows the breath to come deeper, filling the bottom and the back and the sides of your lungs, filling every cell with fresh energy and oxygen, vitality. Each inhalation feels light, like a yang energy boost. But imagine we stay balanced with the yin exhale. The inhale is light, fresh, and the exhale is heavy, soft, still. Anytime we need to come back to our grounded center, the breath helps us. So simple yet so effective. So use your inhales now just to help see you to the end of the day, whatever time of day it might be. Give yourself a little stretch, maybe moving gently, softly. stirring. And then maybe take a couple of breaths over to one side. Take your time. Just take a few moments to one side. Promise yourself that you will take the practice into the rest of your day. Come to seated slowly whenever you're ready. Take as long as you need. Come to any position that's comfortable. Just imagine these Oms that we chant are a promise to stay connected to the body, to the world around us, to nature, and to keep us centered and grounded and relaxed for as long as possible after the practice. Bring the palms together, and we'll take a nice big refreshing breath in when you're ready, and a nice relaxing breath out. Inhaling to take 3 soft Oms. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, despite the slightly challenging postures. Chose all my least favorite poses today. But yeah, and please come and give me some feedback, or feel free to just message me feedback if you really want to go to bed and you've had enough of my blathering. Yeah.
I love the broken wing one.
I really like that one as well, actually.
It originally felt like broken wing.
I know, sorry, that was meant to be open wing. I feel like that was my destructive. It was because I was talking about Boris Johnson, wasn't it, I think, before that?
Oh no, but it felt like broken.
Is it really tight at your shoulder? Yeah, I get really bad. My right shoulder's so tight. Hello, how's it going? Guys, if you have any, let me turn the music on. If you have any questions, feedback, please. Thanks, Jasmine, my love. Is she gone already? She's gone already. I get double trouble today. Got Morgan Pete and Phoebes. Who was that? Oh, gone.
That was don't know where he's run away to.
Camera shy. I hope he enjoyed it anyway. Let me know.
No, we both really did. He was, well, we both nearly were completely asleep. So actually,
good. I always think that's always a success. Oh, I love your jazzy cushions there. Nice living room, by the way.
Thank you. You're actually on the telly, which is strange.
No. Oh.
Yeah.
Am I really? Oh God, am I really big? And don't. Yeah. It was funny in the last class actually in combat. Judy was like, Alexa, the top of your head's cut off, and I was like, yeah, and. Oh, you can't see my head. Oh well, never mind. Is the yeah. Anyway, I have to get used to it, don't I? I still hate the sound of my own voice, despite having taught for 14 years now or something. I still can't stand hearing my own voice. No, is that true for everyone though, isn't it? I don't think anyone likes the sound of their own voice, do they?
Yeah.
What is that about? Mom?
He loves the sound of his own voice.
Who does?
Ben.
Ben, does he? Oh, Ben, you legend. But then you're a musician, aren't you? Thanks, Neve. Love you.
Yeah, performer.
Yeah, spent years finding my voice.
Right, you see, this is what I've not done enough of. You see, I just built it out, Ben, and I just willy-nilly. But yeah, I bet he's got a great voice. Do you sing then, Ben?
In the shower.
Ah,
Oh.
I like having to sing in the shower. It's funny though, isn't it? The more you sing, the
Ben is
better.
invisible.
What's that?
Ben is invisible. I can only hear
It's
him.
very dark on the cameras today. It's so funny. Oh, there he is. Hello, lovely. Oh, two gorgeous faces. Oh, I like that. It's kind of spooky. Got a bit of a. That remind. Do you know? I was looking at this awesome book that I bought. This big block book of M.R. James stories. Just brought that to mind. Then I need to get on that. I love a ghost story. I was thinking about ways of switching off earlier, and I was thinking I'm always doing things that are sort of productive, and I was like, I just need to sit down and read a little ghost story. You know, started snowing outside. Anyway. How are you guys doing? How is Mog? Mog, how are you? How are you, Mog? Mog? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Pete says thank you very much. He had to go and do bedtime.
Fair enough. How's the new place? Because you just moved as well. Everyone's been moving house at the moment. How is it?
It's really good, but Virgin are massive wankers and we don't have.
Is it good quality internet at least? Thanks, Ronnie. Love you guys.
We don't have like internet, so.
Do you still haven't got internet?
No.
But you've been there for ages now. What has it been like 2 weeks at least?
A month. It's because they have to like dig up the road and get permission from people.
Oh no! Can't you go with someone else?
Well, we're already paying. Like you're glitching as I speak. It's like so painful.
Must be driving you insane after a month.
So,
so what are you going to do? What have they said? And when is it going to be sorted for you? I bet you can't even hear me, can you? So the internet is so bad, we can't even talk about how bad the internet is. When is it going to be better for you?
I don't know.
You need to come around there. Get on it with Virgin, Boris Johnson. Right, Richard. We need to get a Richard Branson mask as well, Feed. I'm glad you could join at least. I'm going to tell Virgin they need to sort it out before next Tuesday so we can do Kung Fu Flow together, okay?
Yeah, I'm going to have to catch that one up. Like that sounds incredible.
Yeah, I've kind of refined it a little bit more now. But yeah, it's kind of good fun. It's like a proper form. I'm loving it. Did you like it, Phoebe? Did you enjoy it?
The Kung Fu or today?
The Kung Fu, yeah. The Kung Fu.
No, I did
Tuesday.
enjoy the Kung Fu. I was just way too full. I think I need to do it not having had a massive dinner right beforehand.
It's quite, yeah. Well, it wasn't like loads of core stuff, was it? But it was quite hard. And sort of leg strength and stuff, which is good. But yeah. I quite liked, actually, I did it in the live class last night. And I quite like how you sort of have to relax down into those stances, you know, like you have to like let yourself go floppy, but then be quite strong at the same time. So yeah, it's good anyway.
Ooh, I want to do it.
Oh, my love. Need to get Virgin to sort their shit out first. Bloody Richard Branson. He has that big cheesy grin, doesn't he? But it's all a facade. Oh my God, look at this. Phoebe's got a glass of wine out, you legend. Hey, Dan.
You're all right.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Did you enjoy the class?
I noticed a very strange sound coming out of me at both ends.
Oh, I thought you meant from me. I was like, oh no.
I was on mute.
Oh, it's good. This is the joy of doing yoga at home, isn't it? You can just let rip and no one's there to listen.
Yeah, I just have to put up with it instead.
Oh, as long as you're not in the firing line. That's what I was saying. As long as you haven't had a spicy curry before class, that's important, isn't it? But, yeah.
I think it's a sign of good practice.
Oh, I'm so glad you could join though. I think with all the activities you do, Dan, you should definitely come.
Yeah, I'm not very stretchy, as it turns out.
Because you do what? Football? What else do you do?
Cricket and golf as well. So I just a bit of everything.
Golf's actually quite bad because it's so lopsided, isn't it?
Yeah.
And cricket is actually, yeah. So, well, keep coming if you can.
Dragon was his favourite today.
Ooh,
and when you were
Dragon.
it makes me angry.
It's brutal.
Like,
I find it really brutal, Dragon, actually.
I love Dragon. I find it so calming.
Do you? Really?
I can't even feel. So I don't know. It's pigeon for me that makes me angry.
Oh, that's interesting. It's so, the hips are so weird, aren't they? hips are weird creatures. Oh, Agatha's mum's calling. Fair enough, sweetie. I love you. Get on the blower to your mum. Shane wasn't there for Kung Fu. I'm going to send you the recording for Kung Fu. And I'm going to do the same on Tuesday as well. Are you around? When are you around next? We need to have a chat.
Yes. Monday.
Monday. Okay. Date.
Let's
Date
say
night.
Monday.
Okay.
Mwah.
Love you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming, gorgeous. Sleep well. Say hi to mama.
Oh, will do. Nighty.
Oh, it's just started snowing here actually, which is just. I needed to go to get some groceries and stuff, but I'm like, just.
Has it gone back to being minus? Alexa the other day said it was warm because it was 0.
I know, Dan. It was like -36 for about 2 weeks, and it was just not fun. Leaving the house was it actually hurt to leave the house.
I feel like that when it's like -1.
But it's like that in England, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the thing is with England as well is that it's really damp, so it is a really different. It's a different experience because it's so dry here.
Yeah, I just went to go and put my sheet on the windscreen because I've got to drive to work in the morning, and it's already like completely frozen, and it's probably like 1 degrees here.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's quite cold there at the moment, then, right? Yeah. Raining a lot as well.
It's been either warm and rainy or cold and bright. So.
Okay, well that's okay, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah, I suppose it's like that here when it goes really cold, but it doesn't usually get that windy, and you're like, oh, thank God. Can you imagine? Because the other day it got really, really windy, but it was only about -4 or something, and so that's okay. But imagine -36 and really windy, you just die, wouldn't you?
Oh God, no.
Just die. So I suppose there's like at least a bit of a trade-off there. So. Because if it was like 0 and pissing it down with rain, that would fucking suck, wouldn't it? It would fucking suck.
Much. How's Rollo doing? Did notice his cameo.
Yeah, he's all right now. He's got his little cone off. He was being relatively chilled in that class actually, which I was quite enjoying.
I think the one we did because we did one of the recordings on Saturday, and Pisky made a good performance in that as well.
Oh yes. I'm trying to think. Yeah, usually like it's whenever I lie on my stomach, he's like, "Oh, right, coming over," and I'm like, "No, just really annoying." But yeah, bless him. He's so old now as well. What I find funny about Pisky is if I try and move him out of the way because he's like a cantankerous old man, you know. He stands there and he's like, "No, I'm standing here," and I'm like, "Can I just move you a little bit that way?" He's like, "No," just have to like shove him off. But anyway, yeah, stubborn.
What was your favourite bit of that, actually?
I don't really know. It's just.
Straight.
I like the hip ones, to be fair. I'm not very flexible down there.
Yeah.
My legs, yeah.
I really need to do more of that.
My top half is all right because of all the golf and the cricket and stuff, but my legs are
super stiff. Well, luckily Yin focuses mostly on the legs, on the pins. So every week, different sequence every week, isn't it, Phoebe? Focus on different things. But if you ever have any requests to tell me, request on bits to work on, let me know.
That's the other thing. We both do a lot of like back clicking as well. So any twist.
Oh yeah, love a twist.
Love a good crunch.
Love a good crack. Yeah, me too. It's so satisfying, isn't it? Especially with the back. But hips gross me out too much, but I like a back crack. So,
my hips sometimes click, to be fair. Sometimes I'll just get a really good.
Yeah, it kind of grosses me out with the hips though for some reason. Back is like nice, but hips are like, ew, that's gross. Feels like it's grinding, you know. But anyway, enough of that. Too much information. Sorry. I've actually got a call in a minute, so I'm gonna have to go. I'm hoping. Well, I'm hoping to reconnect with this guy he's called the Urban Birder, and he's like a cool version of Bill Oddie. He's a London guy from London, this black guy from London, and he wants to chat again about he wanted to do this like bird watching yoga retreat thing with me and have my videos on his website. And he knows Margaret Atwood, actually. I was impressed with that. He knows Margaret Atwood, Jamie Oliver, loads of quite famous people. So I was like, get me in there. But then it kind of fell through, but now he wants to chat again now. So I'm going to go and see if I can get in with Margaret Atwood, basically. Or Jamie Oliver would be cool, wouldn't he, really?
There you go. Chef for the next retreat as well.
Get him to cook me some. I know, can you imagine? Fucking hell.
We were naturally bird watching on the retreat.
Really?
Yeah, because there were a couple of jays outside, and everyone said it was like, "Oh my God, there's a jay!"
Oh, That's
That's just
cool.
me. I'm a bit of a twitcher anyway.
I'm
It's
into
the pigeon
birds. I know.
today.
When you talk about bird watching, it sounds kind of sad, but actually, I fucking love birds. So
Yeah, Dan got me that window feeder for Christmas, and his parents
yeah,
got me a book.
that's the biggest pigeon I've ever seen, actually. Like, really, seriously. If that had been over here in Canada, they would have had that in a pie.
I was so
by the
excited. I was
evening.
like, Dan was like doing his work, and I was just like, Dan, bird.
It's enormous, isn't it? When you first sent me the photo, I was like, Jesus, what kind of bird is that? And then when you said it was a pigeon, I was like, is that a pigeon? It's like some sort of weird, like, prehistoric pigeon.
We actually get lots of red kites around here as well, so I'm just waiting
Yeah.
for one of those to land in the garden because they are
Aw,
fucking huge. So,
nice. Yeah. God, I do love bird watching as well. Well, I'll let you know how this goes, because then maybe we
yeah,
can do a little
do.
bird watching and yoga retreat. So
Ideal.
cool.
Oh, well, thank you for
Working on my
today.
coolness. Thanks so much for coming. And Dan, it's so nice to finally meet you.
Angie, thank you very
So
much.
nice. You'll have to come again, eh? And we'll do
David's
some
been
pin
nagging me.
stretching.
She's been nagging me for literally months. So
Aw.
'Cause
Well,
need
you
to
do
stretch
sound
more.
very active, so it will help your performance
it's a
as
really good
well.
idea. Yeah.
Fact. So yeah, and it's great to meet you anyway. So yeah.
Angie.
Have a lovely evening, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank
Mwah.
you.
Love you loads, Phoebes.
Love
you.
Sleep
you.
well.
Bye.